Hey, I'm Jas Takhar, and I was just on the Resilient Minds podcast with none other than Eric Balance, just an amazing host. We spoke about my story, the importance of having a strong mindset, how to shut out the noise, and obviously the importance of having culture within your organization. Make sure to check out this podcast, out the Resilient Minds podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Resilient Minds podcast. You guys, today I'm sitting here with a friend, an amazing dude, Mr. Jas Takhar. Good to have you, my friend. How are you?
Thank you, Eric, for having me on, man. We were talking a little bit off here, and we were like, we gotta stop. We gotta bring what we're talking about to the audience, and I am so excited to bring value. And thank you to you, Eric, because the amount of content you put out there and how you're serving the world is huge. I know how hard it is to produce content, man, and do a podcast and do it just for the sake of pushing out more positivity and optimism, and that's what you're doing it for. And so kudos and congratulations, and most importantly, thank you for doing that.
Bless you, bro. You guys already having the heart space, the connection. You know, everybody knows now. Why me and this guy can be so connected so powerfully. And for those of you that don't know, Jas is Toronto native. So I'm currently in Toronto, which is fascinating. The stars align, and Jas, he's been in sales and service for the last 25 years. Soon after, really trying to turn his hand in real estate, he co-founded DREC. And in the course of 15 years, he has successfully propelled his team to the first place position in Canada under Royal LePage. With 34 realtors and 10 support staff, the team advises and assists over 700 buyers, sellers, investors yearly across the greater Toronto area. Serving at the highest level, Jas's area of expertise is in helping investors build out their real estate portfolios, wanting to share his knowledge and experience with the masses. He wrote an amazing book, which some of you may need to go check out 100%, entitled Real Estate Intelligence, which teaches others how to buy or sell real estate on their own, which could be an amazing tool for anybody out there looking to kind of start looking at that on their own. Now, furthering his pursuit to educate and motivate, he now hosts one of the top business podcasts in the country. It's called the REC Experience. So make sure to go and check it out. Follow, make sure you go and listen. Here he interviews guests who share their success stories on real estate, investing, entrepreneurship, and leadership. His hope is to provide inspiring content to aid others in removing that friction in their own lives in order to help them get from where they are to where they want to be. It's time to rock, bro.
I love it. Every time I hear it, especially that last part, in trying to inspire people to remove that friction. Because I think, Eric, you've interviewed and sat with some of the biggest industry leaders in the world, and I think it doesn't matter if it's somebody who runs a $10 billion company or somebody who's just starting out. You probably come to notice that most of what stops people or doesn't get, where people don't actually achieve what they're looking into achieving, is themselves. Like, yeah, I get the external noise, right? And I get, even at the time of this recording right now, we're in a pandemic here in Toronto. We're in our province in Ontario, we're like in the third phase. Half the people don't know what it is and what it means and all that kind of stuff. That's a different podcast for a different time. You know what I'm saying? But it generally comes down to the noise in here, that internal noise. We stop ourselves from achieving because I'm not good enough. I don't have the resources. I'm not as good as that person. And so we stop ourselves and we all talk to ourselves. And if we can just start to get to the point of aligning those thoughts and understanding that your thoughts become your feelings become your actions, and then those become your results, I think we'll start to get more done. You'll be able to achieve more. And so every time I hear that last sentence about removing friction, it always excites me. I'm super excited to be on with you, my man. As I mentioned earlier, the energy you bring on, I knew I had to be ready. You got that good looking goatee happening, and I was like, I gotta bring the straight goods today.
Jas, the first thing I can completely first thing that comes to mind when you're saying all this is I see why you're so successful. Immediately there's this connection of really understanding that it is all in our psychology of what you bring to the table, because the psychology, and why you have such a great team is because, the chokehold on any business is the psychology of their leader. And you are very clear in how you can bring that really smart intelligence based off of your own psychology, based off your own beliefs, based off of, and really creating powerful implemented action. Because we both know, and I say this all the time, it's knowledge is not power, it's potential power, right? It's about how are we going to execute that brilliance. And having a leader like yourself, I'm sure so many of your realtors or your support staff or the people that you serve and support, now they see the certainty in themselves, because my man Jas here, he has certainty in himself. That is what it's all about.
You spoke, Eric, about that knowledge is power, right? And what we say is that it's potential power, but if you really want to make it powerful, use it.
Yeah.
Like you can read all the books and listen to all the audiobooks and go to all the seminars, but if you actually don't make use of it, it's not going to do you any good, right? And so on the flip side, I was having a conversation with a couple of my team members in the morning today, and we were actually talking about books. And in fact, my phone right now, because I don't have a computer, my phone is on a stack of books, just kind of old school. I just use that to propel it up. And I said, look, guys, I think most people go into wanting to listen to a podcast, an audiobook, or read a book, and they're like, I'm going to change my whole life. And that's a pretty big undertaking, like rather than saying, I'm just going to make use of one tip, one strategy for the next 30, 60, 90 days. And if you do that over time, it compounds. So then you have that compounding effect, right? Of habits, of changing habits, rather than saying, I'm going to change my whole life with this book, man. And our boy, Anthony Robin, I think he coined it the best. We as people overestimate what we can do in a year, but underestimate what we can do in 5 years.
Absolutely. It's the truth. It's the absolute truth. And you've come through this, and I always talk about, how resilience is really the byproduct of how we continue to push forward and persevere, right? And resilience is a common, theme in my life, and I know it certainly is in yours. Now, the one thing that I always share is, our X factors, which are really dubbed, and I believe that they're dubbed our experiences, our X factors, contribute to the biggest thing which we have is our why, our biggest purpose, and essentially our why factors. Yeah. So if you don't mind, I'd love to hear some of these experiences in your life that were defining moments that may have really allowed you to understand, holy man, Eric, how did I really define these creatives or understandings? Because these were the moments that allowed me to propel to where I am today. And maybe, you're going through some too. So sharing some of these experiences is profound, because I think that so many of us sometimes, I think so many individuals, they think that we just have it easy, that we just figure it out as, like we just know all the answers. But it's actually the opposite. We don't know all the answers. And correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, I'm going to speak for myself, I guess, because I don't know all the answers, but I certainly believe enough in myself to know that I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah, look, I mean, I laugh with my team all the time. I'm making all this up as I go. Like some of these ideas and the creatives, and I have no clue. I have none of the answers when it comes to that, but I'm willing to try, and I do have the confidence. As I sit here now and in real estate for 15 years and creating content really heavily, like 20 pieces of content on all the platforms daily. I've been doing that for the last, I'm going to say, about 18 months to 2 years. And so what I can say with confidence is that the team around me, the guys and girls that are behind the camera, behind all this content, I just know we'll get through it. We'll figure it out. Like we're capable of so much. To kind of the original part of your question in terms of some of the other experiences, for me it really all started with my parents, man. Like I got, like, till this day, my knock on wood, my parents are healthy. My mom, my mother, my father, but they worked really hard. My father was a taxi driver. My mother was a factory worker their whole life. Mother with a grade 4 education. Father, I think, grade 8, grade 9. In India, nobody really remembers any of these things. But when they came to Canada, they just showed us a lot of love. I'm the youngest out of 3 brothers. And so I always say that it's a healthy reminder that I'm closer to the bottom than I am to the top, but in a very healthy way. But it was the love, man. They gave me so much love, and my parents, and never, like, I don't have a formal education in terms of a degree or anything like post-secondary. And so my parents never, like, they didn't really push it on me. It wasn't like, oh my God, you have to be a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer. It was like, you know what, son, like, we kind of understand you're not going to be a doctor, lawyer, or an engineer. Like, you do have a skill set though, and my skill set all kind of lied in customer service, in sales. I, as a kid, when I was 7, 8 years old, I was the first person to put up my hand in school to say, I'll do the door knocking for the Christmas ornaments. I'll go sell the books at the book fair. That was something that it always resonated with me. I loved people. I loved getting to know. My parents probably didn't like that as much as a kid, because I might have been speaking to strangers and so on and so forth. But I liked getting to know people. And then for me, it was at 12, I started a paper route. I kind of understood that my friends were scared to even make the phone call to the manager to get their own route. So I started brokering my routes out, right? And taking a little bit of a cut. Then went into shoe sales, I went into the banking industry where I was doing mortgages, loans, and lines of credits. And then did car sales for 3 years, and now it's been real estate for 15 years. So I really stuck with what worked well for me, which was sales and service. And I had a little stint and I say a little stint, it was probably like 32 seconds at a restaurant when I thought I was going in for like the front cashier job. He had me put on an apron, said, you're going to work the fryer. The oil dropped on my wrist and I felt that burning feeling. I took off the apron, Eric, and said, I'm done. Like, I was self-aware from the get. I knew what I'm really good at. And I also know that 97% of things I suck at. And I'm okay with that. I got the team around me to cover up my holes in that sense.
It's always when you can fit, and you've got people around you that are better than you in areas that you're not. It's like we always say, if you're the smartest one in the room, you're in the wrong room, right? Let's leverage some of the brilliance that other people bring to the table, because we can't do it all.
For sure. Look, I have a director of sales and marketing, Laura Stewart. She actually co-hosts the podcast with me. Background, very educated, MBA in marketing. Definitely a lot smarter than I am, but doesn't necessarily have the skill set in sales. Forget the skill set. She'll learn it if she had to. You know what I mean? But she just doesn't care for it. Doesn't want to do it. But she's listening, and she'll listen to this podcast, and 78 things she's going to list down on a piece of paper. You said it like you don't speak well when you say it like this, Jas, or stop writing emails because you don't know how to spell. You know what I mean? And so then I have a media squad with me, Eric, that is brilliant when it comes to editing, graphic designs. I can't do any of that. You know what I mean? And so anybody who's watching or listening right now, don't beat yourself up about the stuff that you're not good at. You can always find other people that can plug those holes. Focus in, hone in, go all in on your strengths. Now, I know there's people who say fix the weaknesses. That's someone else's opinion. My opinion is screw the weaknesses, because you're going to make incremental changes, hit home runs and grand slams by pushing all in on your strengths.
I love what you just said. And the reason I love it, I'll tell you why, is because when you focus on the weakness, you made the incremental shifts. If you focus on your strengths, you now create exponential. And I believe in that 2D, 3D mentality that Jay Abraham discovers and talks about, and how we're going to create ongoing creative yield if we focus in on the brilliance that we have. And rather than focusing on these tiny, minute steps that really fundamentally hold you down and don't propel you forward. Now, I think that's a monumental, like really, really key focus that I just sensed, and that I want to just pull out of that because so many of us, most people will think, how can I learn how to do it all? Especially at the beginning of your journeys, right? Where, who do you hire first? The cheapest guy that works the most, right? Yourself.
100%. Yeah. Look, I mean,
right? So,
look, I say to all my salespeople and salespeople in general, advisors, entrepreneurs, in my opinion, the first hire, like just talking kind of in the micro of what you said, should be an assistant. Before anything else, hire an assistant. Why? Because now you'll get to delegate all the stuff that you shouldn't be doing. So specifically in sales and entrepreneurship and like in business, if your job is to meet people and help them buy, sell, or invest, or help them buy a product, or whatever it is, that's all you should be doing, especially if that's your core competence. So for me, that's all that I'm really good at. Like, I can meet with people. I love, 25 years I've been connecting with people, doing this. You and I spoke for 31 seconds, and we were like, boom. We're like best buddies. Yeah. I hate the fact that you're going to Mexico soon, because we would have hooked up. Right? You know what I'm saying? We felt that connection right away. And so that is my core competence. In fact, not only is my core competence, it's what I love doing. It's what I like doing. Yeah. It keeps me, it excites me in the morning, keeps me up late at night. But I don't like writing emails. I got 7, 12, 13 shelves behind me. I didn't put them up. It happened to be my director of sales. She put it up. She put the tool belt on, and she's like, I can do this. And she did that, and so I didn't touch any of this, because you don't want to put a hammer in Jas's hands. I'm going to put a lot of holes in the wall. And so by focusing in on meeting people, and now in my business, I do the initial consultation with the client, and then I speak to them when they've completed the process. I kind of overwatch them in the negotiation process, so on and so forth, but I don't do all the nitty gritty things, and so it opens up to what you were saying in terms of your creativity. You yield so much, you get that compounding effect where I can start to think of, I got more clarity. I can think of more ideas. The analogy I like to use a lot in that sense, Eric, is that if I were to give you 10 grand right now, 10,000, and say, go buy a new wardrobe, before you go to the mall and go pick out all the new clothes, you need to get rid of the old clothes first in your closet to make room for the new clothes. And so it's the same type of thought process, is that, let me get rid of all the stuff that I don't enjoy doing, that I don't like doing, so I can have more clarity and again, going all in on my strengths to create more. And so I just came off a 12-hour real estate webinar marathon I did, first ever, I know in the country, I'm not sure if it was in the world, but I went on for 12 hours straight, took a break for lunch and dinner, and I brought on guests, and for 12 hours, I just educated people on how to invest in real estate in Canada, and specifically in the Greater Toronto area. I was able to think of that because the months leading up to this marathon, I wasn't in the dirt and the nitty gritty of all the transactions that were happening, where go back to 10 years ago, I did it all. I was kind of like a chicken cut off, running around without my head, in that sense, where I was doing it all. meeting with the client, putting up the for sale sign, putting up the lockbox, and everything from start to finish. And so I wasn't able to come up with these ideas. I didn't have the time to sit down and do a podcast on the Resilient Minds podcast because I never had the time to do it.
And Jas, I think that it's amazing that what you've built over the past 25 years, and obviously there's where you're headed is nowhere close to where you are now. What I would love to share with the audience is, if somebody is starting out right now and they're feeling some sort of resistance or uncertainty, and fundamentally where if you could share some of your experience that they may be going through, so that they know if there's any tools that you've kind of created within yourself, how you were able to kind of bring that forward, what would you tell them? First of all, your experience, and second of all, what they could take away from that experience.
Well, look, I think what comes to my mind right away is that within these 15 years, for 12 to 13 of those years, I had a mentor and a business partner, and it really kind of I would reference him as my third older brother. He passed away tragically exactly 3 years ago in a couple of weeks.
Sorry to hear that.
And he was
Sorry
actually,
to hear that, bro.
Yeah, thank you, man. Yeah. He was the face. He was the face of kind of the brand, and he passed away. And as I sat back and said, "Holy crap!" Like, my best friend just passed away. My big brother passed away. My mentor, the guy who taught me everything, and the brand of the company. Like, what the heck are we gonna do? And I thought back to like, holy, but you know what? I've been with him. I was his right-hand man for 12, 13 years. I have the tools in the toolbox. And I was scared shitless of getting started. So if somebody who's watching and listening and is feeling that uncertainty, understand that it's normal, first and foremost. Anybody that you think of that's done anything of like that they've accomplished what you want to accomplish, they put their pants on, from what I know, one leg at a time. They breathe the same air that we breathe. They went through these feelings that you're going through now. So understand how to dance with it. Take it in. It's okay. Everybody was scared until they did it. And so also come to the understanding that, like Dr. Martin Luther King said, you don't need to see the whole staircase. You just need to see the first step. So that first step might be, well, I want to start a business. Well, there's a great website, probably one of the best websites I've ever heard of, google.com. You Google it, you say, how do you start a business? And 57 billion videos on YouTube are going to come up, and start there. Listen to the podcast, surround yourself. Now, these are the tools. So I'm hoping everybody's really taking the time to understand this now, that these are the tools that I used. Start with Googling, listen to podcasts, read books. Now, people say, I don't have time to read books. Well, use net, no extra time. You might be taking the dog for a walk, or driving your car, at the gym, put the headsets on. There's no extra time to listen. No extra time is needed. Then start to surround yourself with positive people. So like if you hang around with 5 very negative people, be careful, because you'll probably be number 6. But on the flip side, if you hang around with 5 positive people, you'll probably be number 6. 5 optimistic people, you can be number 6. And so I want you to start surrounding yourself, building that team of people who are going to uplift you. Okay. And then you got to take action. You got to take action. You can't just, like we said earlier, only the use of knowledge is power. Otherwise it's potential power. And so now you got to take action, and just, it starts to unfold. I think that's been the biggest experience that I've had, which is understanding, like, okay, I wanted to produce content. So I was at 0 pieces, and now I'm at 20 pieces a day. And because I was scared to get in front of a camera. Now I need 17 cameras in front of me. In fact, one of the main reasons, like one of the biggest disappointments with the pandemic for me, and obviously putting everything aside, like the serious stuff, is that I don't have my squad around me, right? Like I need 17 cameras. Yeah. I like that. Where did I get started? I started with a mic, because I knew, oh, with the mic, nobody needs to see me. I've been in sales and service on telephones for a very long time. Nobody's told me they don't like the sound of my voice yet. And so I'm going to do this podcast thing. And as I started the podcast thing, I was like, oh, you know what? We got one big guest in New York, Ryan Serhant, like in the real estate industry, big name.
Yeah.
And the team around me was like, dude, you got to put this on camera. I was like, okay. We brought a camera, we turned it on. I never even looked at the camera. You can go back to that video, you'll notice I never make eye contact with the camera. I just spoke to Ryan. And then over time, I got a little bit more comfortable. And I got in the space of wanting to do it even more. And then the right people will start to come into your life.
Absolutely. I love how you shared, you didn't know how, and it's just like the podcast, you showed the incremental steps of the growth and you just did it. And how many times do we get stuck on that tyranny of how, as entrepreneurs? And I've been there. I've been there, like, I can't do this because I got to figure this out before I go and do this, or I can't take this huge client on because I got to figure out before I do this. Like, I gotta know how to do it, right? Because eventually you start growing into this person where you're like, holy cow, now people are seeing you as as an authority. And all of a sudden these more caliber individuals start coming to visit you, and you're just like, you looked up to some of these people before, and now they're like asking you for advice. You're like, what the
fuck? You spoke about the how for 100%, Eric. I don't actually I spend very little time on how anymore. It's all about the what and the why for me. What do I want? Let's get very clear on that. Why do I want it? I now understand that the world is conspiring with me, not against me. Yes. I wake up every morning with that understanding and that mindset. And so the how will appear. It's not my job. It's actually, I've let it go. I've set it free, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna focus on what do I want, why do I want it? And so, like, there's a couple of people in the studio with me right now, and some of the closest people to me from a staff perspective, and they don't even know yet. But 3 days ago, I was like, what's the big what I really want? Like, it's time. It's time. I'm confident. I got a sick team around me. I've never voiced this, but something's in me and it's that connection with you. I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do 100 deals a month.
Yes.
That's my new what. Like, I'm going to put it out there. It's never, ever been done. Nobody's done 1,200 transactions in a year. I'm going to personally, not my team. So my team and I do 700. The most I've ever done right now is probably by myself, about 180 transactions in a year. And I said, I'm going to do that. I'm going to turn my yearly into my monthly. Why? Because I can serve more people, and I need to. Why do I want to do it? Because I want to employ more people. I like
bigger. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. And so, how is that going to happen? I have no friggin' clue. Nothing. I have no idea. But you know what happened in the last 3 days, Eric? Three people DM'd me and messaged me and said, Jas, we don't want to get paid. We just want to be in your room and be interns. So it's the universe that's doing that. I started to think I need to do 100 deals a month. It's bringing. I want to do 100 deals a month. My team doesn't even know how much this is going to be the new goal. Like, let's do it.
Because I just got goosebumps.
You got goosebumps? Because I'm getting goosebumps too. I know, because I'm feeling. Yeah, like it's such a new challenge. It's such a new challenge. And so it's like, okay, it's not why do I want to do it? It's why not? Like, why not? We can try. Let's just try. It's not going to be the end of the world if we don't hit it. But I want to talk about the how. I just know that the how will appear. See, opportunities everywhere. You just got to get in front of it. Most people spend like, oh my God, I can't get, like, where's the opportunity? Where's the opportunity? Don't worry, it will come. There's a reticular activator system, the RAS in our brains. Its job is to find these things. Long before Google, it's been in our brains, And so take action. I'm always reminded, give me a sec here, about this sign in my office. There's a reason we have it. It says ready, fire, aim. Stop
Aim.
spending a lot of time in aiming, man. Aim after. You can figure out your target. If you just start firing, you'll figure out your target a little bit quicker.
It's that rise that is bringing this jazz, bro. I love it.
There's something about the Raz and the Jazz. I'm gonna play off on that, Eric. I like that.
Dude, you got it, man. You got it. You got it. Listen, you have, tremendous energy, and I sense that this is something that you pass on to your team, and
Yeah.
I think that's super important, right? Like, so this is where you and me can really connect powerfully. This abundance that continues to come forward is now these people, right? More people are looking to say, listen, and that's the abundance that the universe continues to conspire with you to evolve to the next stage, to create this, this calling, this that you've now put onto yourself. So with this sense of abundance, how many times for people, when they say they're in lack thereof, or they don't know how to be, and we've heard it said before, it's not the lack of resources, it's the lack of resourcefulness that really will stop you to create your destiny. What is it that you believe people need to shift when it comes to that ideology of resilience, when it comes to being resourceful?
Yeah, look, I mean, the pie's big enough, right? And there's a saying around here that we use probably 4 or 5 times a day, which is, if we run out of pies, it's okay. We'll just bake more. We'll figure it out. If you look at nature in of itself, right? Like, it's very resourceful. Like, the grass grows after the snow comes, especially in Toronto here. We get a lot of snow, and in Edmonton you do as well. But nature does its thing. There is more. There's always more of what you're looking for. So the scarcity mentality is something that you need to start to shift. Like, you need to understand that there is an abundance of everything that you're looking for. There's enough money to go around. There's enough love to go around. Whatever you look for, you will find. And so if you are in that mindset of there's not enough, you're right, you're going to find it. If you look for the fact that there's a lot of love in your life and there's a lot of opportunities in your life, you're going to find that as well. And so, but now you have to practice this daily. You can't just listen to a podcast once, or listen or read a book once, or say it to yourself once. You need to wake up every single morning and every single night, and then be patient. Be patient for it to come. The bigger, whatever you're looking for, the bigger that it is, the longer it's going to take. And so the universe doesn't work like this. Just because you ask for something, it takes time. It's coming through a lot of galaxies. Give it the time. Right? And so starting your day with being grateful is something that I do I've been doing this for, I don't know, probably, I'm 38, at least 32, 33 years old. Like, my parents put it in me. Like, this is what you got to be, like, be thankful. Like, first it was, they drilled it in me. And then I was like, oh, it is a nice feeling, because you can't be grateful and fearful at the same time. You can't have those two emotions at the same time. You know that. And so I choose, and I make the decision in the morning to start my day like that, because then I know as the day unfolds, more of that comes into my life.
And I think that that's the coolest thing. As you continue to create, as you build momentum in your experience to really serve yourself in the morning time, you give yourself an opportunity to create this fundamental foundation to start your day. And I know for me, like, I have a daily rhythm, that I really get into. And I call it a rhythm because it's like my circadian rhythm I've created myself. And because I find that, training and putting myself into my body, and then really collectively coming back to my center, where I bring, my emotion, my heart, my logic, but mostly my body, so it aligns and becomes congruent with my higher source, is what, like, really connects me to creating the powerhouse of a day that I want to create. What is something that you've done specifically, or is there a specific, like, ABC step that you do in the mornings to really get you into your, superpower, where you're able to show up in that team, and then they just feel you when you walk into that room, and there's that resonant energy.
Well, for me, it all starts with what I'm thankful for. So I'm thankful for,
Yeah.
first and foremost, myself. Because if I'm thankful for the fact that I have a tongue. Like my team has been hearing that a lot recently. Like I'm just grateful that I have a tongue so I can speak and I can actually articulate what I want to the world. And then after I'm done, like thankful for the heartbeat that was beating while I was sleeping. Like think about how weird that is. Like I didn't have to tell my heart to start beating, to keep continuing to beat during the 6-7 hours that I was sleeping. And so I'm in that first thing in the morning. Thank you. And look, some will say that I don't believe in God or I don't have faith. Like whatever it is, you gotta just be thankful. Put that out there. And then it goes to kind of my, goes to my kids. I got two little ones, a 6-year-old and 4-year-old.
Oh,
Instantly.
nice, beautiful.
Yeah, instantly. It doesn't matter what mood I'm in because they're 6 and 4. Like, yesterday I came home and the 4-year-old was pissed off at the 6-year-old because he took his one of his toy cars. You know what I mean? And I'm in it. Like I love it because that's their biggest problem for the 4-year-old. That was his biggest problem, and so that brings me happiness right away. And then it's my family, like it goes to my outer family, my brothers, my parents, my wife, my sister-in-laws, like, and then it goes to my team. Like my team that's around me is like family. In fact, I see them more than I see my kids and my wife sometimes, and my parents, right? And so I'm so thankful that they allow me to lead. Because look, I mean, they can get paid a lot more in other positions, they could be doing different things, but they stick it through with me, understanding that I don't have the answers. So I'm so thankful for that. And so as I'm driving in, that's what I'm thinking about for the first. I got it down now to probably about 10 minutes, 8 to 10 minutes. I'm not just thinking it, I'm feeling it. I'm looking at myself in the mirror as I start. I tell myself, like, I kiss myself all the time, Eric. I love jazz. I love jazz. And I like, I kiss myself because it feels good. It makes me feel good. It might be weird for somebody watching and listening, but that's how I fill myself up. I fill up my cup first so then I can give. And then the rest of the day consists of giving. There's a lot of fires. I'm in client services, right? And so a lot of fires I got to put out after I get off this podcast. There's probably 32 emails I got to reply back to, or somebody on my team is going to ask me questions. But with the team, I then just reverse engineer as much as I can. Talking about the energy, I'm excited about what's going on in their day and how can I reverse engineer what they're looking for. And so we're a big family here, man. And so because we see each other more than we see our families, I laugh with them. We're like siblings, right? Like brothers and sisters. You fight sometimes, you don't want to see each other, and that's like us. I kind of know when someone's down, and I know when they need to kind of leave and get away for a couple of days. And that's where I spend, I'm going to say about 70% of my day, and especially in a month, is spent on what does the team need? Because once I know they're good, now I know we can be very deadly in what we're capable of doing because they're good. I can't, as we mentioned earlier, there's just 97% of the stuff I can't do. And so I need them to be happy. I need them to be focused. I need to see them grow, because I know growth is important. If you're not growing, you're dying, right? And so we know all these things, but now I'm in the process of executing them. And it's just a beautiful, it's almost like like you go and watch a movie and you're like, holy crap, that last hour and a half, 2 hours was put together so nicely, but there were so many pieces that it took. And that's kind of what I'm seeing my business go through right now.
And that's what I really want to pull from that. What I'm hearing is a manifested exponential value, like we talked about earlier, turning that approach into making sure that you're leveraging these brilliant minds so that they are creating that exponential growth even when you're not around. And I think, we discuss so many times as entrepreneurs going from an operator to an owner, and that transition is super important. Now you're showing up there as an owner, recognizing where you can pick and how you can choose, what you can do to add value, and how you can put out fire, whatever you need to, but you get laser focused, and that laser focus is helping you get the necessary results that you continue to are able to operate as.
Definitely. Like and I'm still in like operating mode. There's a lot that I do in terms of operating here. But I know where for me, I like the running part of it, the running of the business, because I get to deal with the people. It's to me, it's my
Yeah.
people now. I'm watching, I got like another Matt, like just a beast of a sales guy that joined me, Cheyenne, recently, and watching him now speak to all of the clients that I was speaking to a couple of years ago when they were buying their first property, but now they're working with Cheyenne, and it's quite seamless. It's seamless because it's the mindset that he's going in. He's learned, like and I tell him all the time, he had some bad habits, because it's not like he just got into sales, but as he joined us, he's learning, and I'm watching the growth and how much fun he's having while he's doing it. But I'm also making sure that Cheyenne is playing nice in the sandbox with Tyler, who's been with me for 6 years, and vice versa. Tyler, who's been with me for 6 years, I need to make sure that, I just picked up a new intern, Doutson, who joined me, I don't know, 3-4 days ago. I got to make sure Tyler plays nice with her as well. He doesn't put on that, not that Tyler ever would, but he doesn't put on that, I've been here for 6 years and you got to listen. Like, that's not how it's run here. You know what I mean? We're a big family, as I mentioned earlier, and everyone knows, like, you just got to get on this bus. The bus is moving. Get on the bus. You'll find your seat at some point.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, that's powerful. Jas, you have obviously a process behind the way that you serve your clients and this way that you obviously serve your team so that they can, continue to grow alongside you, not just, be in there as these incremental, chess players or chess
Yes.
pieces, but they're become the chess players alongside you. So, and I always love that analogy is like, we want to serve this world as the chess player, not the chess piece. And I think, it sounds to me like you have a process where you've been able to cultivate a great culture. We know that culture eats strategy for breakfast every single day of the week. Now,
Yeah.
creating that process in that culture inside of your business, do you mind describing that and how that also translates to the culture that you've created for your clients?
Yeah. So first and foremost, it did actually start with the client in mind at first, which was, we are going to be white glove service, high level of service when it comes to a real estate transaction. We're not going to be perfect. We're going to screw up. We screw up all the time. I screw up personally 10 times a day. I make so many mistakes. Like, I'm still learning. I'm in the process. And so it started there, that we're going to service the client. Okay. And so when it comes to real estate, we're not going to only help them buy and sell, but we're going to focus with helping creating long-term wealth with investing in real estate. And so, for example, when a client comes to us and says, I want to buy a house and flip it and then make a profit, you can make money in real estate doing that, but that's not what we do. So right away, I was like, that type of business we're not gonna do here, because we're not experts at it. We don't know. I've never done it. Like, really made a quick flip and a quick buck. So I don't want to speak about it. It's not like, I know others do it and you can make tons of money. That's not our expertise. Our expertise is, in fact, the most boring stuff in real estate. Nobody wants to do it. It's watching paint dry. It's watching grass grow, which is buy a house, buy a condo, rent it out, and never sell it. Okay. And so, like, just never sell it and refinance it. Values go up and down in real estate, but they go up and down upwards. And so that was where it all started for me. That's what I was very comfortable. It allowed me to sleep well at night, and kind of peel back the curtains from a business development perspective. I was like, look, this is going to be very easy to do because I know real estate values go up over time, all the time. And so it's not like I have a secret sauce I'm cooking back here. It's just buy it. You get what I'm saying? Like buy it, hold on to it, and it makes me sleep well at night. So once I thought that process, and I also figured that, okay, I'm not going to really focus on getting a lot of cold lead generation. Not that there's anything wrong with knocking on doors, cold calling, like each to their own. I'm going to service the people that I know, that already know me, like me, and trust me. That's going to be the foundation of our business. Okay. So that happened about 3 years ago, especially when my partner passed away. And so that's where I had to kind of take the lead and start to figure out, how am I going to navigate this ship for the long term, like for the long haul, because I want to do this for a very long time. And so then after that, it was like, okay, the client, we know what we want to do with our clients, but I know who's more important right now. And for really ever, it's the staff. Because once my core people that are, and the realtors are happy, then automatically the clients are going to be happy, right? And so for me, it was all about the company, who's working here, everyone playing nice in the sandbox, so on and so forth. And so then that's where the culture came in. And we just have a lot of fun. Like, what do we do, like actually actively and practically speaking? And so if somebody's watching or listening who wants tactics, I'm just myself. Like, I like to have fun. I like to have fun with the people around me. And so it's I want people to make mistakes here. Like, we have mistake logs that we're working on now. We just implemented that if you don't log it, then look, we're going to have a talk. But if you log the mistake, you're actually probably going to be lining yourself up for a promotion, because we're fixing things. Mistakes are something
it's
that
an opportunity.
It's an opportunity, right? And so I think, and you would probably have to speak more to my team about this, but I think I'm safe to say that they understand that it's a very safe zone with Jas. Like, what are you going through in your personal life? Let's talk about your personal life. Look, you might need time off. Go. Like, it's okay. Your job is safe. There's nothing wrong. Like, I don't care about how much time you take off. By me thinking that and having that mindset and having the culture, I've noticed that most people don't want to take the time off because they feel very safe here. It is their second home. To some, it might feel their first home. Why? Because I also put no cap on creative, especially with my media squad. Like, I don't know what's good content. I know what's good content for myself, but that's my subjective opinion, right? And so I want the creatives to be creative. I learned in the last 2 years that, like, you have the headset on right now. They like to have headsets and big, thick headsets and listening to music. And sometimes they want to come in at 10 o'clock and sometimes they want to come in at 11 o'clock. And I'm like, dude, you're the creative. Do whatever you want. Like, I'm not really micromanaging you, because I know you need to be comfortable to come up with more creative space. Now, we also have, like, throw everything on the whiteboard. I got 2-3 whiteboards in front of me here and beside me, where we're going to throw up ideas. Not all ideas are gonna be something that we're going to make use of. Sometimes I've tried them and I know they don't work. And so, but don't feel like you should stop coming up with ideas. In fact, I'm asking for them all the time. I'm a very touchy-feely person. Like, I don't mean physically, but just like in my nature is
Yeah, you
that,
just want
right?
to be part of it. Like,
I want to be like, I'm always asking. And now I'm at a point, we're growing, and within the next 3 days to 4 days, I'll probably have 3-4 more staff members, because I've been in interviews with them. But the ones that are here with me, I know, Eric, the second they walk into this office and the way they say hi, Jas, I know if they had a good evening or maybe a rough evening, or just not, like, I can sense it. That's my spidey sense for that kind of stuff is very high, right? And so
my intuition here. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, sorry, really quickly. I was gonna say that's so once I know that, okay, so Cheyenne might be having a bad day, and I'm just picking on him today because he's right in front of me. But he might be having a rough day. We're gonna have a talk, like, later on. I'm not gonna I also know I can't, in front of people say, hey, Cheyenne, what's wrong? He's not gonna want to open up to me. I know. I kind of know when to feel him out, and then I know for the rest of the day I'm not gonna put a lot of work on him, because I know he's gonna get out of it. He's not gonna have 16 bad days in a row, or even I mean, Cheyenne specifically hasn't had 2 in a bad day. You know, Laura, never 2 in a bad day. Tyler, never. Like, so it's like, I'm gonna feel them out at the start. I know if they come in which is 92% of the time, 95% of the time, they're coming in with the same type of energy. We're gonna rock our day like we always do. You know, shoot for the moon, do our best, and call it an evening. And we're gonna do it again. But those other days where they're having rough days, I just know to kind of peel back, like just pull back a little bit. Like I am definitely, and there's a lot of people who disagree with me that slap people on the wrist and do like, you got to do this, be the boss. That's just not who I am. I can't be that person because inside I'm not that person. It would be fake. It'd be so fake.
And you
so
wouldn't want to be in a place like that. You know, my intuition says, my intuition senses is like, you know, guys like us, like with incredible energy and charisma, we walk into a room, we can light it up with our energy. But if we're in a shitty mood, we can also bring it down. And so one of my senses is that because we are like that, we can sense other energies a lot faster than the natural person. Do you agree?
100% I agree, man, because I see it in action all the time. And now it's not even like, I can look at somebody's shoulders on my team, not in general, right? Like, but on my team, and I know, but it's their voice. For me, it's their voice. Was there eye contact made? You know, like, was it, hey, Jas, what's up? We all have, just over time, we just made them up. Like I have a kind of a handshake with everyone, right? And so it kind of happened just over time. And I could feel like if it was a little wonky one day, it's like, all right, man, there's not that energy now, right? But what I really focus is on, and what I think is important from a leader's perspective, is what did you do with that data now? You know what I mean? Like, did you just say, fuck, I don't care, Laura, like you should be here and you're in this space and you should be working your ass off the second you come in here? Or did you say to yourself, okay, she probably had a rough day. What was going on? I don't know. She probably doesn't want to share. Who cares if she wants to share or not? I know the data. I have the data. And so now I need to make use of it. And it's going to be like, okay, don't put too much on her. Because man, when she's on her game, she'll run through a wall for me. So would Cheyenne, so would Tyler, so would Steven, and the list goes on and on. These guys and gals would run through a wall for me. I'll never take advantage of that. But I know when they're having a bad day, man, it's hard. Like there's also a life outside of Jas and REC, right? And so I'm very, very sensitive to that, man.
That really builds their resilience up to really wanting to serve the culture too, right?
I think so. Yeah, for sure.
And I think that's a beautiful way of really putting it together. Jas, listen, you've given us such a beautiful path to success, and you know, anybody out there that wanting to really show up in the world, you know, in a powerful way, in different, you know, areas, it could be super powerful of what they want to implement and tactics and strategies. Now, what's one reason you would say people would fail?
They don't believe in themselves. Like now, like they're not removing that friction, and they're getting in their own way. It all starts up here. It all starts here. Nobody wants to hear it. Nobody wants to put in the work. Nobody wants to, like, you know, like nobody actually wants to put in the work it takes to get rid of that negativity. And maybe it was when you were growing up, people telling you, us hearing the word no so many times, or it was a teacher. You know, I grew up in the northern part of Toronto, in an area called Rexdale, where most of the time, like most people would drive up and with their windows up. Like that's not the area you go into. You know, it gave me thick skin. But there was also a place where you were kind of brought up outside of my home. Anyways, inside my home, I was always told I can do something. You can do whatever you want. Outside of the home, it was like, well, you're in Rexdale, like. Nobody comes out of this area. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if there's any hockey viewers here, but PK Subban was out of the area of Rexdale. And so, but you're born and you're raised, when you're growing up here, you're told that you can't come out of this neighborhood. But whatever that is, understand that you can. You can. You just need to know what you want and why you want it, because somebody's already done it. Like somebody's already done it. And so you could reverse engineer that. But for the actual tools, until you understand that it's all like, it starts with the mindset, then everything else is like, the chances of you actually making use of the tools, like if you don't know that the hammer can do damage to the wall, you're never going to know what a hammer can do. You know what I'm saying? And so you don't even have the mindset, right? And so it all starts there, man. For me, it all starts there. Shut out that negative noise. Shut out the negative noise first externally, because that's actually easy to do. In all honesty, the external noise is really easy to do. Turn off the news, for starters. Like, just turn off the news. You just shut out 80% of negative shit in your life. You know what I mean? With that, then you can say, okay, who do I spend a lot of time with? Okay, the 5 people. Man, I hang out with Eric. He's positive. Okay, so I'm gonna keep him in my life. Okay, Mary Jane, she's kind of negative. Not gonna spend a lot of time there. Or shit, it's my mom. Great. I'm not telling you to cut your mom out of your life, but maybe spend a little bit of less time. You spend an hour a day, spend 55 minutes. Get back 5 minutes of your time. So the external noise, in all honesty, is very easy. I know there's a little bit of, I'm making it easier than it is, but it's not that hard. It's the internal noise, that person that friggin' jibber jabbers with you all day long, lining that person up with positivity, making sure that, and look, I'm not here saying I never have a negative thought. I just don't let it prolong for a very long time now. I just cut it off quicker than I was able to do in the past. Probably quicker than most people, but there's probably there's lots of people who don't even maybe have those thoughts, or it's like a split second. I just don't let it consume me anymore, because I know if it does, I'm just going to bring about more negativity.
And when we indulge in it, it just continues, like you said earlier, focus, if we're focusing on it, it just comes up in our life. Brother, your honestly energy is infectious. I love it. It's something that I resonate powerfully with. And I want to just share, if there's anybody here that wants to know more about Jas, how to connect with you, your podcast, any of the content that you're putting out there, how can they reach out to you? How can they find out more? How can they go and listen to what Jas is up to?
The easiest place, it's kind of a one-stop shop is jastakhar.ca. That's JASTAKHAR.ca. Or you can join my text community. Just shoot me a text if you're listening or watching. You just want to say what's up. Shoot me a text at 647-372-0126. 647-372-0126. It's me. I control it. I manage it. It's not somebody on my team. There's not a piece of content that goes out without me actually posting it. I have a team who produces stuff for me, but they don't actually post anything. I still do it because I enjoy it.
Amazing. And I'll have all those in the show notes. So make sure you guys go check out Jas and what he's doing in the community. Last question for you, brother.
Yes.
If you had 3 days left to live, what would you do?
I would spend every single minute of those days with my 2 boys. Every single minute, because they're the most important people to me in my life. There's nobody gets to see my boys. In terms of content, I don't put them out on it, because my 6-year-old, for example, hates taking pictures and stuff. He has a podcast that he plays around with on my phone. But he doesn't like anybody else seeing him. My 4-year-old loves it, but I'm gonna let them make the choice. So people, there's a lot of, sometimes I get messages and stuff and say, wow, it's all about business and mindset, and you don't really show your family and so people don't know a lot of my personal life. But there's not one, if I had 3 days left and I was told that, knock on wood, there's not a minute I would spend with anyone else other than my 2 boys. They're my life. I adore them. They're the funniest people I've ever come across in my life. They give me this energy. And if I'm ever having a bad moment, as I mentioned earlier in the podcast, man, those are the 2 that I think of. We talk about goosebumps. Look, I think anybody who has kids or somebody that and it's not even that if you have kids or not, they're the ones unconditionally, I'm going to jump in front of a friggin' train. Like if there's a train, I'm not thinking about it. You know what I mean? So to answer your question, I never had that question asked to me. So great question, by the way. Spending every single moment with my 2 kids.
Beautiful, bro. Jas, I just want to, acknowledge, the gift that you bring to the world, man. The energy is infectious. Absolutely. More people need to, hear and know of you and be inspired by the brilliance that you have in this world. So I just want to say thank you for your time. I'm grateful for you, bro. I look forward to continuing and nurturing this friendship, and just many blessings to you, brother. Do you have any last comments or concerns that you want to share?
No, man, I just want to say thank you. I want to put, I know we're at the time of this recording right now, there's a lot of stuff happening in the world, but also know, just like call somebody, text somebody. It's not just about social media. I love social media. I love that we can connect with people really quickly, but there's somebody out there that might just need a phone call. Just reach out. Maybe somebody that you haven't to in a while. You could change their, I'm not saying you can change their life, and I'm not asking you to change someone's life. I'm saying maybe you can change half of their day just because they heard your voice. Reach out to somebody, anybody, just reach out, because they might need it right now and you don't even know it. And to you, Eric, I've done probably about 60, 70 podcasts since the start of this year. Your ability to connect with somebody really quickly, your skills of asking questions, giving people the space to speak, is one of the best. And so what I said earlier, at the start of the podcast, thank you, man, because like we need more people like you. We need more people like you who are spreading more positivity, because there's so much negativity out there. So thank you.
Appreciate you, brother. You're a blessing, man. I look forward to connecting. Talk to you soon.
For sure, brother.